Welcome back to the Compound Podcast. This is episode 190 of the Compound Podcast. It's a new year for the Compound. We're working hard on a little title sponsor deal, a little new friends of the pod. Can't talk about it yet, but it's coming. But we have our good friends, Bruce Bolt, going to be back with us. We got our good friends from Sloan. We got plenty of friends joining for 2024. There's not a ton going on right now, boys.
Other than the Dodgers have fake money, monopoly money.
The Dodgers did a 1-year deal with Teoscar Hernandez. Cam Maben, I think, called it about a month ago or 2 months ago. He gets one for 23.5, and he's deferring 8.5 of that. It's an interesting structure. He's coming off a little bit of a down year, finished strong, 31, corner outfield. Good track record of swinging it, but I think it's a good addition for them. I think it's an interesting contract and contract structure. I don't have a present value calculation on that, but he's gonna hit some homers in Dodger Stadium. It's weird because he was playing Toronto, good hitters park, great place to swing it. Went to the Mariners, different place, hadn't been there before, a little bit bigger ballpark. Numbers are down a little bit, but he kind of got hot towards the end. So, I think Dodger Stadium would be a good place for him.
Is there going to be a year where the Dodgers owners, like, all the money just hits 1 year and he's just like, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do, boys. I tried to put this away and now it came and I'm out.
That's what I don't understand about it. I'm like, when all this deferred money hits, like, where's this money coming from? Does this guy just have billions?
Yeah.
Honestly, but I'm saying, like, he's going to be paying $1 billion in like 2030.
Well, there's a really interesting calculation on what you can do. So like with Shohei, for example, taking the money that's deferred, reinvesting it, what it looks like they're basically only paying a couple $100 million because the other money they'll have made by investing the money that they're not paying him, plus insurance policy and plus another, how much money he brings to the team. So there's a lot of ways that the deferred money is advantageous for the owners, and I don't think they see it as a problem.
I mean, yeah, if they saw it as a problem, I don't think they would do it.
Yeah.
Well, and I saw it, like, when all these moves are happening, I feel like some people are like getting pissed, like, oh, the Dodgers got another guy. But I'm like, isn't that what you want as a fan? Like, if it was your team, wouldn't you be like, this is so sick? Yep. Like, it's exactly, you're like, you have these billions of dollars, like, you're using them to try to help us win.
So, what's funny is, like, didn't the owners get mad at, like, Steve Cohen last year or the year before?
Yes.
When he was like, hey, I'm going to spend $1 zillion and there's nothing really you guys can do about it. And then now, like, imagine if he was doing this right now. I feel like, again, they would, because they did it last year and it, kind of bit him a little bit just with injuries and guys not playing great. But now that it's the Dodgers, it's kind of just like, oh, Dodgers are doing it again. But I feel like if it was anybody else, they'd be like, this is fucking stupid. This is terrible. Like,
I think the Dodgers ones are just so laughable. That's why people are like, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, Steve Cohen wasn't deferring.
He was just saying, like,
he's
man,
like,
I'll pay you $50 million this year.
I'll pay it tomorrow if you want.
Yeah,
that's what I think. That's the big difference. Is he just like Steve Cohen's like, I'll give you the cash on the spot for your whole contract right now, and the Dodgers are kind of just like, we'll give it to you when we get to it.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, we'll worry about this after a couple World Series, hopefully.
I do think it's a great move for them. Teoscar's going to hit what, 5, 6, 7 in that lineup. Like, that's pretty nuts.
And it's a righty,
like 7 at the highest.
Yeah, it's a righty that people were complaining that they had too many lefties. So there you go.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think it's going to be very easy for every other baseball fan. Like, if they don't win the World Series now, like it's going to be, they're going to be the butt of the joke forever.
Yeah. Especially in a game where it's impossible. Like baseball, you can't predict baseball.
Like in basketball, you could probably buy a team to win you an NBA championship. Like if you got like 8 of the best 8 players in the NBA, like, you're winning.
Like the Warriors did it with KD,
I guess the Clippers are kind of trying to do it.
Clippers are trying it.
But in baseball, like the Diamondbacks just went to the World Series. No offense to Diamondbacks fans, they were not the best team in the NBA. Like they weren't, but it's baseball.
I do think, obviously they're going to be at the top of that division and they're going to be in the playoffs. Like they've built themselves enough insurance policy, they'll be in the playoffs, but there's not that much else happening.
Cubbies are in on that pitcher.
I feel like it'll start it has to be. I mean, you say this every episode, but like, again, once Snell or whoever goes, like, I feel like that's going to be all right, off season is resuming. Here we go.
Well, and when the new
Also
year
getting to
turns,
that point where it's almost the middle of December or January.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like once the new year hits, I feel like guys kind of start to feel a little more like, all right, like I kind of want to know where I'm going. Like I want the best deal, but I'd like to, like I'm leaving here in a month. Like I'd like to know where I'm going in a month. Is CubsCon this weekend, Ian?
CubsCon's this weekend. I'm trying to think back to like the Harper Machado, like those guys signed so late. You know, it seems late, but like those guys signed really late. It feels 17,
When
18
was
months
Harper's first year there? Was it 21? No,
18.
20.
18
Huh?
or
What year?
19? 19?
Yeah, I don't
19.
think it was 21.
It was 19.
Oh, okay. I thought it was either a year before or a year after the pandemic.
So it was 19, and he signed in February of 19.
It's crazy.
But yeah, it is CubsCon week. So next week's episode will be Compound Live. If we can get it all together. If not, we'll record one. I'm not really exactly sure how that's going to work, but
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
yeah. But I will be doing
Like
Compound
the
Live.
Dodgers.
Compound Live with the boys on
We
Saturday.
got coming on.
We got Nico and Dansby are going to come on together.
Whoa.
Whoa.
And so we're going to have the full glove middle infield combo. We're going to have Steele and Alizé together. And then I think we're going to have Benny Pro, 2016 World Series MVP Ben Zobrist, and
Zach,
I
I'm
think
waiting
somebody
for
else
one.
from the 16 team with him, but we're not exactly sure on that.
I'm waiting for one specific name.
By the way, can we talk about very quickly on CubsCon? They have it like a festival. Like, so they have all the names. Your name was up there like second row. Ben Zobrist down in like row 8. What do we do? We got to clean that up. Like,
I can tell
I'm
you
a Mike Talkman fan. I don't think Mike Talkman should be above Ben Zobrist. That's all. That's all.
That graphic was put out, and I can tell you that they're not all that well received from many people.
Who was the
think.
first name?
Craig Counsell and Jed Hoyer were on
smart.
the top.
You were 2?
I think I was on the next row, maybe.
So, that's right.
But, right. Yeah, it was interesting because all the prospects are on there. You know,
all right, Ian was row 3 technically. It's Counsell, Hoyer, Ryan Sandberg, Pat Hughes.
the Hall of Famers.
I got you ahead of them.
Then Fergie, Dansby, Ian, Nico. That's the third row.
Yeah,
it's a good third. That's a good row.
And then then there were some more players and the prospects, and then like all the 2016 guys were like at the bottom.
Ben Zobrist row 11. Seems low.
2016 World Series MVP Ben Zobrist last row. Yeah, I mean maybe not. Maybe probably not easy to do that graphic. Maybe just don't do it if that's.
I'm hearing rumblings that Cody Bellinger's coming on the show live to announce the signing.
You're not hearing any rumblings.
Trying to pump it up a little bit. I'm trying to, I don't know, put it out.
When's friend of the pod Jan Gomes coming on?
Thank you. That's who I was talking about, Zach.
That's a good question about friend of the pod Jan Gomes. Friend of the pod Jan Gomes was on last year at Compound Live. We didn't have
the guy has a career. He has a career year, and you're just kicking him to the curb.
We're trying to get Dansby on. I mean, Jan reached. I don't know if you saw that on Twitter. Jan said,
I did see that.
Jan said he wanted to be guest host, and we took Scotty Effross. I think he was a little bit upset, but we will get Jan on. Maybe that's a spring. It's a good spring training guest. Check in with him, see how he's feeling in spring.
I think Zach would have preferred Jan Gomes. No offense, Scotty. We love Scotty, but
no,
Zach has a man crush on Jan.
I would 100% prefer Jan Gomes over Scott Effross.
Is he your new Kike Hernandez? Like, are you just going to be following every Cubs game?
Just watching the guy play, chopping it up with him. Like, guy's been around. Even though, again, I will revisit. He was not the nicest of cats when I said hi to him at the plate a few years ago. Again, hey, he didn't have to be nice to number 59. Again, I get it. But, Jan, how you doing, man? All right, brother.
But then you met him at Ian's wedding, and you're like, this guy. I love this guy.
Yeah, I actually met him this year when we played the Cubs, and again, he was just beauty, man. Good people, good company.
Dakota, how was your vacation? Tell me a little about your vacation.
So good. It was so fun. We were 7 days in the Caribbean. Drank a lot, too much. Ate a lot. By every night, because you wake up I don't know if anyone, probably some listeners have been on cruise ships. I know you guys haven't. Tom, have you been on a cruise? Tom has. So every morning, it's about 9 a.m. You're getting breakfast, and it's like, well, I might as well toss in a mimosa. Like, what am I going to do?
What are you gonna, you're not driving anywhere.
Like, what am I going to do? So then you start drinking at 9, and you're not really done until midnight, 1 a.m. So by the end of the day, you're feeling it. About over 20 drinks in. Dinner is all you can eat. You'll say, hey, which app should I get? And they're like, get them both. They're free. And I'm like, all right. So there was one night I had 5 appetizers and 3 entrees, plus 2 desserts. Thought I was going to puke. Way too full. But it was a good time. A lot of fun. Got a lot of sun. Was going to do, I was actually really close. Ian's going to kill me. I was actually really close to doing like an interview of like trying to find Cubs fans, but I got nervous. I was like, I don't want to interrupt people. They're on vacation. They don't want to talk to me about the Cubs doing nothing in spring training. 0 moves. Like, what am I going to ask them? Hey, how's spring training or how's the offseason going? Let me know when we do something is what they'd say. True or false?
They would be so excited to be interviewed by Dakota Mekkes.
But I was nervous that I'd go up there and they'd be like, we don't know who you are or what your or what your podcast is. And I'd be like, this sucks. It would have hurt. It would hurt my feelings. Zach?
Last week when we had friend of the pod, Scott Effross on, I gave you major props for saving a huge staple in our friendship.
Oh, the Snapchat streak. That got crazy.
Tell you what, man, I thought we were done for. I thought we were at the bottom of the Caribbean. I thought we were done.
So I'll tell you what happened. So Saturday we left out of Orlando. And I have 2 snap streaks, yours and Marty Bikina's, 2 like almost 7-year-long snap streaks, like 2,600 days or something. They're a babies. Like, we can't lose those. And I sent him the 3 times I've gone on a cruise. I've sent him my login info to have him do it for me.
That seems like cheating.
No,
Ian,
I don't have internet.
Stop.
I don't have internet. So it just
so what, you can't go away.
You can't get Wi-Fi on the boat. There's no Wi-Fi on the boat.
It's not cheating. Like, no, I mean, you'd have to pay for it.
If you cared about it, you'd pay the $8 a day.
Listen to me. No. It's $1 a minute. And you can't it. All
you have to do is you log on for a minute, get your Snapchat, turn it on.
Twice I did it. Twice I used it. It cost me $51 in Wi-Fi. And I promise you, all I did was send Snapchats and then leave it. Because the thing is, it's not only if you're using it, you literally have to log out of your account to stop the Wi-Fi from happening. So like it'll just run up charges. But so I sent it to him.
$1 a minute seems egregious.
When you log into somebody else's account, you get like a verification code. I was already at sea when he is like, I need the code. This was Sunday. And I didn't see those texts. We got to our first port Monday, and then I got those texts because we were in Mexico. So like I used my data plan there, and I saw those texts and I was like, shit, they're gone. Our Snapchats are gone. I had texts from Zack, couldn't load pictures, but it said like it's over or something like that, like something like sad. But then I sent one Monday and our streak was still there. So I don't know how it didn't go away. I don't know.
I think Snap has been a little bit generous over the years. Again, I don't know anything about Snapchat anymore, but I was reading something or somebody told me, like, I guess you get like a free pass. And
Scotty
I'm like,
told us that last week.
Oh, Scott did. And I was like, you know what? If you lose it, you lose it. I'm not asking to get it back. Like that's crossing the line.
That's what my brother-in-law and my younger sister's boyfriend said. They're like, oh, like you can like pay to have it restored. I go, if I got to pay for it, like that's
not doing it. You know,
might as well just pay for the Wi-Fi and then you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Well, I set a plan in place. It just didn't work out because I didn't know you need a verification code, but somehow the streak stayed. I'm not sure.
I don't think our listeners are going to like that. I don't think our listeners are going to like that you're having.
And you know what I think?
That's not a real streak.
I don't care if they like it or don't. Let me see. I want our listeners to send in their longest streak. And if they can beat, Zack has two longer than ours or one longer.
I have a zillion, dude.
If they can beat 2,479 days, which is me and Zack, we started in Instructs in 2016. Then
I got one. I have one longer, and then I have one 82 days behind you.
It's like Joe DiMaggio feeling like he wasn't feeling great at the plate, and he's like, "Hey, today I'm gonna give my bat to you, and then you get a couple hits, and then
No,
it'll
no,
just
no,
go
no,
towards
no,
my
no.
streak."
I mean, you know how many times what they do with Cal Ripken during his game streak? They'd play him for what, 1 inning, 1 pitch, take him out.
I can't confirm
Got a
that.
point. He's got a point.
You know,
The thing
I mean,
was,
hey,
it was only that Sunday that was close, and then there was 2 at C days, Thursday, Friday, and I used the Wi-Fi for those because I was nervous. I was like, it got too close the last time. Like, I can't risk it again. But it was a good time. The cruise was a good time. I would have been heartbroken to lose those streaks, honestly. I love seeing Zach's beautiful face in the morning.
Yep.
He's got some bad head going on.
Yep.
But yeah, the cruise was a lot of fun. Drank a lot, ate a lot, climbed these. We were in Jamaica, and we climbed this like waterfall, and it was kind of nuts. Like you'd think like, oh, you're climbing like alongside the waterfall. Like, no, like the waterfall's rushing down, and you're literally climbing the rocks. Like
so
you
you're
have to
saying
wear
you're climbing
shoes.
water as it's shooting down.
Yes. Like it's not like a huge steep one, but like it's a long, like gradually heightening one. And it was kind of like there's a couple steps where I'm like, I mean, if you slip, like you're dead. You're legit dying. Like you'd fall all the way down the rocks. Like it was kind of crazy. And there'd be like 60-year-old people doing it. I'm like,
come on.
and I was like trying not to be rude by like asking if they needed help sometimes. Like, I fucking got it, buddy. Like, relax, I got it. But I was like, I don't want you to fall because you're gonna like die. But no, it was sick. It was a really good time.
So when the Lions game happened 2 weeks ago, huge discrepancy, I guess you could say, in the last minute. We were texting in our group, and you were nowhere to be found. And we were like, do we think Dakota has watched? Because you said that they were on at the bar, but there was again, no Wi-Fi is what they say.
Seems like their Wi-Fi for the TV is working fine.
We were at the casino actually. I was busy losing like $100 in blackjack. Fun times.
Could have been on
and it was on the TV, and I was watching it, and I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I was pretty tipsy, so I was just kind of like, that's bullshit. But all right, I'm on a cruise. What am I gonna do? I was pissed, but I was also like,
I think if you were sober and you were home in that same spot,
yes, I would have been way more pissed off if I was like sitting on my couch watching it. But I was like, what are you gonna do? Like, hit me. I'll take it.
I was so invested in that. I stayed up like another hour after the game listening to like everybody talk about it on ESPN, everybody on Twitter, like showing the videos of it. I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
The craziest part.
Like, yeah, we'll get him again. I'm like, wow.
Well, like I said, I wasn't in the right mindset for it at the time. But yeah, it was insane to see. Like, I don't know if I've seen that in any sport. Like that legitimately like cost the Lions the game and the 2 seed. Like they'd be the 2 seed right now. They'd be the 1 seed, but the 49ers would have played their guys otherwise. But they'd be the 2 seed right now. Wouldn't have to play Matt Stafford coming back to Detroit. And it changes everything. Like one call legitimately changed a lot. And it wasn't like there's many plays that change. Like, no, this one quite literally determined who won the game.
That's fun. Football's fun.
I knew Ian was going to cut us off here soon.
You know what I would like to talk about? As fun as that was, is I would like to talk about Zack. You've been swanging it. You've been swanging with our favorite company, Bruce Bolt. You got some Bruce Bolt batting gloves. You wear them to the cage. You swang your bat. You like the Bruce Bolt batting gloves. You know why? Because they're the best in the game. They're made with real Cabretta leather. And I have a couple pairs that are on the website, the Happ series, brucebolt.us. But you know what else they have? They have baseball pants. And it's about that time of year to get your pants, get ready for the season. Premium baseball pants. They have 3 different lengths. They got the pants down to the ankle. They got the knickers, they call them. They fit just below the knee. Those the old short pants. And for the first time ever, they have baseball shorts to go above the knee if you want to look like our friend Hunter Pence. Craftsmanship is second to none. And these pants are designed at the highest quality in the game. brucebolt.us. Go check them out. Zack, how's the swing feeling this time of year?
I feel good. No, I feel really good. I feel pretty dialed in right now. Definitely ramping up a little bit more. It's always a weird thing, like for me, like when I get closer to spring, obviously panic button seems a little bit closer in reach.
Keep that thing
Just
away. Keep that. Keep
no,
that thing
yeah.
on-
Listen,
keep that thing on-
it's been trying, but I've stepped on it. I've pushed it away. It's got one. It's it's one of those things. It's got like 9 lives, so like it'll keep coming back. But yeah. I mean, I feel good. Body feels good. Swing feels good. Mind feels good. What about you? What do you got? Where are you at? I know you said we mentioned that you've been doing a little bit more, and where are you at?
My body feels good. Workouts have been really good this off season. It's actually been really nice to work out regularly a bunch. Been doing some good stuff on the like speed side of things. Some really interesting stuff. I talked to a defensive backs coach to do like some really cool
From your
defensive.
favorite teams? Which teams are we?
No,
No.
it was outside my
Yeah.
favorite teams.
Nice.
But some pretty cool stuff with change of direction, kind of how those guys move their hips and what they do and relating that to the outfield. Because it's something that I felt like last year I didn't do a great job of. So that's been really interesting to dive into. Be doing a lot of that, like getting into spring training. That's kind of the biggest thing from a strength standpoint. We're doing a lot of Pilates, like the Pilates. I'm into the Pilates. I got a sauna.
Nice. I'm scared of Pilates. I think I would like to do it, but my body is wound so tight, and I'm scared. Like if I start to really stretch those muscles, that what?
I
Interesting take.
don't understand. Yeah, I was like, that's a crazy take. Like I'm so tight. Like what happens if I'm loose?
No, I mean I've
could
seen
be better.
I've seen so many people who are crazy like stretching those muscles, those elastic muscles, that they wear them out and then they tear down easier. Like
It's
That's
for
fair.
me, Pilates is more like building strength, like core strength, and then
Yeah.
like some stability within some of the muscle groups that you can't get to as easy with kind of the main workouts that we do. So it's more supplemental. But my trainer and I have been working on some programs that are more geared towards like what we do in rotation and baseball, and not exactly
Mhm.
like the Pilates you would do in the studio. So
right.
that's
No,
been really
that's
cool.
right.
And the infrared sauna is awesome.
Do you have it? Do you have it in your apartment?
Yeah,
Or
it's
your
in my
house?
condo here.
Nice.
Sick. So that's kind of the strength side of stuff. Been doing a lot of running, but the hitting side, I actually had a great conversation today with Coach Maley, our hitting coach, and just digging into the numbers from last year, last 2 years, kind of left-handed numbers, what I handle well, what I struggle with, kind of how the season went last year. I was really good for the first 2 months, really horrible in the middle for a couple of months, and then really good for the last month and a half. So just some cues to take into the season and like talk about. So it's like, hey man, if I stink, remind me of this. Like remind me to do this. And like let's not do that whole thing where you're searching. Like let's just remind me that this is what got me out of it. And like if I'm in these positions, I'm gonna be all right.
That's the hardest thing as a hitter is like, why do we go cold? Why can't we just snap out of it? Why do I feel the same, but it looks way different? Or why do I look way different, but I feel the same and shit like that? Like, it's such a stupid ass thing that everybody for the most part goes through at least once or twice a year.
Yeah. And I spent 2 months trying to like search and find like what was going on left-handed. And then like once it clicked, it was just like unstoppable again. But it's like, you have to find a way to be in that state for 5 or 6 months and do it and not sacrifice 200 at bats in the middle of the year. Like I still walked at a high rate and I was still
Right.
productive, but like which kept my season alive. But like fuck, those 2 months, it's like
What's the fine line in your shoes where like if you feel like shit and you're noticing that you're feeling like shit of like not changing something knowing that it's gonna click, or when do you abort and be like, I have to change, I have to make an adjustment somewhere outside of like a mental adjustment? Like what's the time for you to be like, all right, this is I need to do something different or I'm gonna drive myself nuts?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a feeling like if I feel like I'm just missing pitches or like I'm hitting the ball hard and it's going at people, it's like, all right, stay the course. You're doing the right things. Once I start seeing the ball well and like rolling over, like for me, when I'm going bad lefty, I'm hitting the ball in the air the other way, not hard enough to get hits. And then when I pull the ball, it's like a topspin hook.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
Yeah.
And so like there's no hits there. Just
Hey,
zero.
there's hits. There's hits and topspin. There's hits and topspin.
Yeah, but not when it's foul. Not when like your best
Yeah,
ball's
no.
110
No,
foul.
foul. Yeah, there's no hits and foul balls. No.
No. And so it's like my swing gets on this plane where it's like if I catch it back here, it's a fly ball not hard enough. And if I clip it out front, it's a snap hook foul by 2 feet. And I'm really pissed. So I know once I get into that spot, it's like, all right, something is working very poorly here. We have to fix this. And it's not necessarily that I'm getting my ticket punched left and right. It's just that like I'm not putting the ball in play competitively. So when I'm good, I'm hitting the ball to the pull side with backspin, and then it's kind of a lower left center the other way. Yes, Tom.
Is that something you talk about with the foul ball specifically? You talk about with Rizzo, because getting a chance to watch him a lot the last couple of years. He's a guy that, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, but a lot of those foul ball home runs, especially in a place like Yankee Stadium, where it feels like when he's going good, he's hitting a lot of those.
So he's interesting. You know, we've talked hitting a ton. I try to talk mental approach with him because he's so good at it. And I try to stay away from talking mechanical hitting with him. Like we understand each other pretty well because we played together for so long, but like we're so different because he's 6'3", the way his hips work is very linear. Mine's very vertical, and he's left-handed thrower. So he's left-handed dominant. So he's really focuses on his top hand and keeping it close to his chest and like how that has to work. And like for me, being right-handed dominant, like I have to think about my bottom hand. I have to think about different things. So I know just talking to him when he's going bad, like some of the stuff that he's feeling or working on, and he knows the same for me, but they're very opposite things. So like we talk a ton of approach, but not as much mechanics. He also doesn't love to talk about mechanics. But then Mails and I had a really good talk about righty and just looking at the year, because like for me from the beginning, I did some stuff during spring training last year and tried some stuff. I was like trying to get the ball in the air more. And then from the beginning of the season until middle of May 10th, I was horrible, like atrocious. Could not get a hit, couldn't buy a hit, was punching out 30% of the time. It's like so bad. And then I was like, May 10th, I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to hit like I hit last year, like take some chances, not be afraid to hit the ball hard on the ground to the pull side. Like there's hits there. We're just going to go back to what was working. And then I fucking raked and I dominated.
So when you're talking about hitting like pull side ground balls, how do you think that without like smothering or like cutting balls and becoming steep down?
Yeah, it's not like
opposed to like turning it and just like catching it deep on your downswing, opposed to like the other way where you're turning it and catching it on your upswing a little too far out in front.
It's not, for me, it's not trying to hit a pull side ground ball. It's that if I hit the ball pull side,
yeah,
and it goes on the ground, that's okay.
Yeah, right.
Like it's a feeling of like if I get far enough out in front that I'm going to pull this ball and it ends up going on the ground hard, like that's okay. Because like when I'm trying to work in the air, it's a lot more like center field, right center.
Yeah,
like in
right.
the air.
Keeping that direction. Yeah.
And for me, the way that my swing works right-handed, like there's a lot of balls that aren't hit hard enough to go over people's heads that are 99 to the track. Like I just don't have a ton of like oppo juice. And so changing that approach a little bit and being like, all right, don't be afraid to pull this ball, get a pitch you can handle to the pull side. And then like if the ball is away and this guy's going to like work the outside corner, like don't be afraid just to take your single that way, hit a ground ball through the 4-hole, like little things like that.
Yeah.
They're just more mental keys, and like there's some physical stuff in there, but trying to be more okay with the way that I hit in 22 that didn't produce a ton of slug, but also produced like hit 300.
So why? Yeah. So why? I don't mean to interrupt you, but like I know you said you wanted to slug more, but like why would you not stay with what you did in 22 and then just kind of like believe or like, all right, the slug will come.
Yeah, and I mean,
again, it was just maybe taking a chance, or like, hey, everybody, obviously you're always trying to improve. Like, hey, if I do this with X slug, okay, I'm going to be in a position that's going to be really good for me.
Yeah, and it was like, how do you find that slug? So I only had in 2022, I had 140 plate appearances right-handed. I had an 800 OPS, 313, but I only had 2 homers.
Yeah,
so 9 doubles, 1 triple, 2 homers. So I was like, all right, how do I get the ball in the air to the pull side more? Because that really plays at Wrigley. And I had super high BABIP in 22 and
Yeah.
some really good luck. But it was kind of like we worked in spring training on like if I can hold my posture a little bit better and if I can, because I would hit flips and tee and shit. And I would just launch balls. Like,
Do you feel like on your right side you get steep down, almost like
Steep.
Cuddy? Yeah, like down, right?
down?
It's
Yeah.
so funny because I would watch and like you said, like your BABIP was really high, and I'm like, man, like his left, and I understand like your lefty swing, like you don't even think remotely same, and I'm like, dude, his lefty like turn is so much like I don't want to say more efficient, but like
Yeah, it's so much cleaner.
allows you to go literally line to line and like catch it from the catcher's glove or out in front of the plate. And then like when I see you hit righty, I'm like, man, like I see a lot in myself sometimes, like with yours, like it has to be in a really good spot for you to hit it. Not hit it, but like do damage.
Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of realized in 22, it's actually the end of 21, I realized like I don't get enough at bats righty, and like
Yeah,
I
I
have
mean-
to do what works, even if it's not like building the perfect swing.
Yeah.
Like I have to do what works, and I know I can get away with essentially, like at the big league level. And a lot of that's about approach and taking chances. And so, then we went to spring, and I was like, you know what, I know that this is in there, and it is like you have an at bat every couple of days. You have 10 at bats in a week or 3 at bats in a week. Sometimes like it comes and goes. And so I was just missing balls. I was punching out an absurd rate and like not making good decisions. And so it was like, all right, I'm going to go back to what I do and have done well. And so like May 10th to the rest of the year, I had like a 780. I had like a 780 OPS, and that was with I hit 10 doubles, 6 homers, and a triple this year from the right side. So it was like way better production, and most of that was in that window after May 10th, and it was like really good until like mid August. Things kind of got a little sideways, and I stopped walking. But like from May 10th until August 5th, I hit 280 with the 402 on base and a 520 slug for a 922.
Place.
And I was like raking 15% walk rate, sub 20 punch.
Yeah.
Like it got a little gross towards the end of the year again. Still has some production, but just wasn't walking at all. And so a little bit of bad luck in there, but wasn't walking at all. So it's like I'm trying to put that all together and go like, all right, what did I not handle? So we had a really good conversation about what did I not handle well? What was the stuff that was getting me in bad spots, like chasing in off, some of that stuff, and like, all right, how do we fix that? And so just really good productive conversations about like the plan going into spring training.
It's good stuff right there. That's a good chop for the people out there.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll help make your playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code COMPOUND. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on the DraftKings Sportsbook with code COMPOUND. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. All right, let's get you guys right back in to some chop here on the compound.
Dakota, I'm going to give you your red meat here. Okay.
My what?
We're going to talk about college football championship game. I know that you're sad about the result. Do you want to? Oh,
Can't
What
really
does it
see it,
say?
but it's a Michigan State shirt.
would you like to talk about it? Do you want to say any bad things about Michigan? Are you sad?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Were you yelling at the TV?
No. During the Asterisk Bowl last night? No, I did not.
Asterisk bowl.
I didn't really care, to be honest, because you cheat, you're going to probably win. So It's kind of how it works. They worked out for them. Don't care. They're still all losers. Not really. Losers might have been the wrong word because clearly they're not losers. They won the national championship. Before I can get yelled at on Twitter for that.
Okay, can I ask you another question? Let's
sure.
move on. Let's move past this.
The only thing I'll say, I legitimately wasn't mad. I was 1,000% rooting for Washington. I will never, ever, I'll stand on a soapbox for this until I die. I'll never understand the people that say, oh, but it's a Big Ten team. We want them. I'm like, I don't care if it brings in money to the program or the conference. Like, why would I root for my rival to win a national championship? No chance. I was hoping they lost by 60.
Technically, they're both Big Ten teams now.
True. Good call, Tom. It was
point.
actually funny. There was like a Pac-12 commercial. I was like, RIP.
Yeah.
Tom or Dakota.
Yeah, that's my name.
If you were an NFL team who had recently fired their head coach, would you want Jim Harbaugh to coach your team?
Yes. He's a good football coach. And I was texting in my group chat with my buddies from Michigan State that we all played baseball there. And we all said it. We're like, they're a good football team. There's really no getting around it. Like, there's nothing more I can say about it. Like, they are a very good football team. Their defense is incredible. They run the ball so well. And Harbaugh is a great coach. Like, if I was any NFL team with an opening right now, he would be one of my first 3 phone calls after I start with Ben Johnson, offense coordinator of the Lions.
What about, speaking of coaches, what about Vrabel?
Yeah, that was nuts. We can't go this.
Sorry,
yeah. It's like
yeah.
Ian doesn't even know what team Vrabel coached.
Sorry.
But
Tennessee
yes,
Titans.
The Titans more.
He searched his name. But to answer your question, yes, I like good coaches, and he's a good coach. Is he a cheater? Yeah. Is that a positive to some teams? Maybe. Not my university. We would never.
I find it.
Just different things.
Well,
I find it amazing that NFL scouts can figure out who's going to be good in the NFL from college. It is such a different game. It is crazy.
Did you watch last night, Ian?
I agree with you.
Most of
because I would say, I said it last night in 2 of my group texts. I said, watching this game, and he didn't even look that good. I said, Michael Penix should be the first quarterback taken. This guy throws missiles off his back foot.
Bro.
It is such a pretty, he looks like Michael Vick throwing the football. Like, it is a pretty football.
But that defense shut him down so fast.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
So
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like
how do you, if you're an NFL scout, how do you watch these quarterbacks and see them face a good defense and get absolutely shut down and be like, well, in our scheme, this might, like, what do you evaluate? For college hitters, like, it's like, yeah, this guy goes to the Cape and rakes, and like, we like his mechanics. Like, we think he's going to be a player.
I see your point. But in the NFL, you will then have an NFL offensive line. So, like, you look at the mechanics, the throws he makes.
Not the Jets one.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Jets and the Bears and some of these guys who have to run around like.
No, and I agree. Like, that's something to look at. But how do you watch JJ McCarthy last night and say this guy's a first rounder? People are projecting him a first rounder. Like, he looked horrible. Their run game won them the game. I thought he looked terrible. I was like, this guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Really
I don't understand
know why
it at
they
all.
didn't. I don't know why they passed the ball at all. Like,
they should have done what they did against Penn State, which was the second half. They threw 0 passes. And that's the other thing I don't get, Zach, is McCarthy's projected like 15th in the NFL draft. I'm like, they're a better team when he didn't pass the football. Like, how are you telling me this guy's going to be good in the NFL?
It's me,
and that's not my bias. That is me. Like,
no, yeah, that was like the talk on Twitter too. Like, people were like, I don't know if I see it with him.
I do agree, Ian. It's tough to judge. Like, for Penix too, like, he has 3 NFL receivers, like Polk, McMillan, and Roma Dunze are all going to play in the NFL.
Need the Jets to grab Dunze.
Yeah. And that, like, but then, like, you watch like Jaden Daniels at LSU, like, that you could be like, how'd this guy lose 3 games? Like, he won the Heisman, but like, why did he lose 3 games then? Caleb Williams, like, he's supposed to go 1-1, but it's like,
Caleb Williams is like supposed to be this generational dude, but
he's somebody who, what their experts are saying, that I'm clearly not one of them, but like, he was not in a system at all. It was just like, hey man, do what you got to do to get to throw the ball. Like, you run around for 7 seconds. I don't give a fuck, and do something sick. But like, when you have a 5-step drop, and it's like, hey man, you need to read what the linebacker's doing. They have to check the other safety. Like, go get them. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but I'm sure
It makes no sense either, Zach, to that point, because Lincoln Riley is the head coach of USC, and like he knows what it takes.
Right. But
To, like, get him ready.
did he just completely abandon that and be like, hey man, like I'm gonna try to win football games opposed to develop you?
Yeah. But Ian, I agree. Like I feel like baseball. I mean, this, like you
Especially
said, Zach,
now,
we're
though,
not
like with-
experts at all. I feel like baseball might be the easiest to be like, all right, like the bat speed's there, like the juice is like, like there's just things
Especially
you can
now with
test.
metrics too. Like, hey man, this
yeah.
guy's throwing a 20-inch vert heater from, whatever. But
And with quarterback, it's like, okay, he can make this throw, like he can make the out route throw, he can make a post throw. But it's like, what about when he's under pressure? Like, can he make the right read? What if his first read's covered? Like, how's he get to the second guy, the third? Like, there's so many things you have to look at. Like, can he
yeah,
run?
in baseball, you have the physical tools and you could measure bat speed and all this stuff and the pitchers and all that. Like the hardest thing you're trying to evaluate is like, is this guy a douche? And like, how's does he
Mental
have
toughness.
the mentality and like the mental toughness to get through what it takes to be a big leaguer? And like, that's what separates guys that are really good and they make it, and guys that are really good and have success. And it's like, okay, we know the variable in baseball. I guess I'm more in it than not in it. But like in football, like you look at the guys that had these college careers, like Troy Smith and like Jameis Winston and some of these dudes. Like
Look at
guys
you
are
pulling some names. Let him
Colt
pull.
McCoy.
Troy
Colt
Smith
McCoy.
was a pull. That was a pull
I mean,
from you.
Those guys were
Nice.
absolute like can't miss studs. What is that guy? Was it Jamarcus Russell? Was he the guy? Who was the guy from
Yeah.
LSU?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you? Those guys were like can't miss studs. Like,
Well, I think it's even in the NFL. Like, I mean, you used to be like the top quarterbacks were so far and away good every week that they were going to put up huge numbers. The guys that I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't know if it's that defense has gotten better and there's more scouting and whatnot, but like the top quarterbacks outside of Mahomes and who's had a down year for him this year, every quarterback you could watch him one week and be like, this guy stinks. Like,
Oh yeah.
Any good quarterbacks here, Tua, Purdy, Hurts, like all those guys have weeks where they look terrible.
Trevor Siemian.
it was funny this year. The Jets played the Chiefs, and it was
Zach Wilson outplayed him.
So it was funny. It was one of like the first weeks where Taylor Swift was, new and up and coming in the NFL world.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like,
Yeah, they were saying like, imagine if
superstar.
you're watching football for the first time and you're like, holy fucks, this Zach Wilson guy is nasty. Mahomes is terrible. Like Mahomes should have had three or four picks. Like he threw 2 or 3 and it was way worse than what it looked like. And they were like, man, imagine watching football for the first time. Like Taylor Swift is probably like, this Zach Wilson guy can play, man. Like, man.
yeah, it's crazy. And is it because like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and like some of the all-time great quarterbacks aren't there, and Aaron Rodgers, like all three of those dudes that we've watched for the last 15 years,
Yeah.
aren't playing right now, so you just don't get to see that like super and like Lamar Jackson's a different kind of superstar than what these guys are. Like maybe
Tell you what, good thing that I'm not scouting any QBs out there.
Ian, I'd like you to declare, because there's 2 teams that fall into your list of 3 teams that made the playoffs, and I'd like you to declare whether you are a Browns or Steelers fan for this postseason run.
And this isn't Dakota asking. This is a fan question.
This is a fan question. Yep, I just got it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Browns fan.
Good call. They're the better of the 2 teams.
You're a fucking
Man.
sicko.
I actually was never a Steelers fan. I was never a Steelers
But
fan.
aren't you from?
I grew up there, but my dad was from Cleveland. My brother was born in Cleveland. So
Fair.
I was a Cleveland sports fan growing up. So I always would actually root against the Steelers growing up. I don't care anymore, but I would root against the Steelers growing up.
That's fair. I'll give you that.
And the Browns were
Brownies.
always like really bad. So
Scott's going to be so excied if he listens to this and hears that part. He's going to be texting you and be like, "Are you watching this? Do you see this?"
Yeah, I mean, Scott and I have started a fans club on Facebook for the Browns, so it'll be great.
What's the nickname of their
Dog Pound.
Yeah, boy.
Come on.
If you didn't,
That
know
was
that,
quick.
I know
If he
football.
didn't know that, he was going to tell Tom.
I
to cut
know football. We should get to the screen time for the people, but it's a big week. Compound Live coming up. We're excited
it.
for
There has
another
to be
year.
moves.
Excited for another year of doing this podcast. Thank you to everyone for listening last year. It was incredible. The support And I would say we haven't asked this many times in the last year or so, or 2 years. Like, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Follow the YouTube. Tom, say other things that they should do.
They should rate us on iTunes or wherever you get, or what, Apple, or whatever you get your podcasts.
Or Spotify.
Or Spotify. Follow us on all social media platforms. We're going on Instagram, TikTok, X, Twitter, whatever they're calling it nowadays. You know what also helps? Like the YouTube video. Like and comment on the YouTube video. That helps the algorithm. That's good for us.
Yeah. All those things. And you know what? If you're a huge Compound fan, listen to the Compound on with the day it comes out, and then just put the YouTube on in the background. You don't even have to watch it. Put it on and mute it, and just let it play all the way through.
Maybe go ahead and use our promo codes to check out the sites too. Whenever we give you a promo code,
yeah,
why not?
Yeah.
If you want to buy something, sure. If you don't, check it out.
Just check the site.
Zach, anything for you? You want to sell them on anything?
I mean, you nailed it all. What am I gonna do?
30-second timeout. I got to say a quick story before we do Slum. It's got to be before. My grandma, Zach, listens to almost every episode, except the ones I'm not on, because obviously she's my grandma. And she told me at the Christmas party, she goes, I like listening to you. You need to tell them to let you talk more. I go, Grandma, that's not how it works. And then she goes, why do I get we get 3/4 through the episode before I hear an F-bomb, and then Zach always drops an F-bomb. I go, don't worry. His mom yells at him about it too. It's literally what she said. She said, they need to let me talk, and you need to stop saying the F word.
I don't think what? Sorry, Graham.
Breaking
news. It was
news.
just hilarious because I was like, I have to bring that up.
Breaking news, the Cubs signed a free agent. Shota Imanaga.
Oh,
wow.
The pitcher they were linked to?
The left-handed pitcher. Bob Nightingale. This is from Nightingale.
Oh, so
tentative deal.
TBD.
Will undergo a physical.
No, John Heyman.
Thursday.
John Heyman tweeted it too.
Do we have numbers?
No, he just said Shota Imanaga has a deal with the Cubs at Bob Nightingale first.
Oh boy.
See what it is, but that's the Cubbies.
Oh boy,
it is kind of.
Ad.
Oh boy,
it's kind of funny seeing tweets like Jed's alive.
The best is when they go under Bob Nightingale's Twitter.
Oh,
and
it's
like
so mean.
If he says something, they'll just be like, so if he says this guy signed with the Cubs, you'd be like, ooh, this guy's going to the Brewers.
I'm surprised like he battles through all this, man.
He hasn't wavered at all. He's just like, yeah, fuck, I'm gonna keep shooting.
I see no numbers or anything, Ian. I just see he did sign left-handed pitcher.
I have his numbers last year in Japan. 7-5 mark, 2.66 ERA in 24 games, 159 innings.
I think we're talking more about contract, right?
Yeah, well, I don't think that's available yet. 188 strikeouts, 24 walks.
2.66 last year. Year before 2.04. Year before that 2.83. Year before that 2.32, and then he's been pretty good.
It's a good player.
Let's go, Cubbies, making a push. Let's go ahead and announce Belly by the end of the night too. Come on,
Cubbies are making moves. Cubbies are making moves.
Maybe you get Saya and your new teammate. I already forgot his name. Shota. Maybe you get them both on. I don't know. Maybe Toy translates for you. That could be good. Throwing it out there. No? Okay.
Sloan is the world's leading manufacturer of commercial plumbing systems. They're at the forefront of the green building movement and provide smart, sustainable, and hygienic restroom solutions by manufacturing water-efficient products, including flushing meters, faucets, sink systems, soap dispensers, and fixtures for commercial, industrial, and institutional markets worldwide. To learn more, visit sloan.com. Dakota, did you have Sloan flushers on your cruise, or did you have to hold it for a couple of weeks?
I didn't pee for the last 8 days. It's tough.
Good for you.
Wow.
Well, I went in the ocean. I would just go in the ocean and then just pee my pants. That doesn't count as cheating on Sloan.
Well, that's a response.
I hope you heard that one, Grams.
Well,
Dakota just told us about his grandmother, and then this is the first story he follows up with.
Yeah, I mean, have some respect.
My grandma, we asked my grandma, we had a wedding the night before we left for our cruise. My grandma was there. We asked her if she'd go on like a family cruise next year. No, I wouldn't. Have you heard of Poseidon? I go, it's like a mythical creature, Grandma. She goes, I'm not playing. I'm not testing it. I'm not going to see if Poseidon's out there.
Effing hysterical, Graham.
And she's dead serious. She's dead. She won't do it because of Poseidon.
Poseidon, man. I haven't heard that guy in a while. When are you still kicking?
I wonder what he's doing nowadays.
Give me your screen times.
4:31. What did I say?
3:25. Mine was 3:25 and my top app used. A little homework. No big deal.
That's right.
Kid's bettering himself.
Oh, yeah.
Had a little abnormal psychology homework.
3 hour, 1 minute for me.
You're an hour behind. It's all good.
Yep.
3:19 for me.
Oh, Tom, I'm giving Tom the win. I'm giving.
Oh my
Tom
god!
the
Oh my god!
win.
I'm so happy.
No, Tom's got the win on that. You're not.
No. I needed to redeem myself after my snafu last week.
What was it last week?
1
I
minute.
mean, I listened, but just remind me.
It was messed up, and I only had 1 minute.
Convenient. Funny how that works, huh, Zach?
You know,
You won, Dakota. You don't even know. You won. You had the lowest score.
Well, yeah, I was on a cruise. I better have won. I didn't have connection. I never even.
but you were,
looked at
but
it.
you were Snapchatting.
Yeah, I could still get done what needed to be done.
That's episode 190 of the Compound Podcast.
Maybe a new
See you
sponsor next week.
Maybe a new sponsor next week. See you next week.